Hello, people. Welcome to Main Event Boxing Talk, and we're back after an extremely long break. That seems to be forever. This is our first one of the year.
Yeah, we have to stop that and get back on the horse here.
Right, the first thing I've got here, let me go to the list very quickly. Benn has left Matchroom and joined Zuffa Boxing for a multi-million-dollar deal. This was all done pretty nastily, really, because he left Matchroom without telling them, but he'd never had a contract in the first place. It was all like done, one match at a time.
Right, that's right.
So I don't think Eddie Hearn has really got too much to be, moaning about, really.
Well, Eddie Hearn has always had Conor Benn's back. Honestly, for the money, and he supported him during the drug ban. I think it's an interesting fight.
No, I'm still talking about the fact that he left the way he left was bad. He should have at least said, look, Eddie, I've got this offer that's too good to turn down. Do I have your blessing to leave for this one fight and then come back?
Well, I don't know what their relationship was really like.
They were pretty close. They took holidays together. They were like friends.
Well, in boxing, the thing that speaks loudest is money. Not loyalty, money.
If Anthony Joshua was going to do something like this, he would have consulted Eddie Hearn, because he's actually his real life friend. He would have consulted him.
Well,
that's the difference,
Well, who was considering who the friend? I've seen this before. One person thinks they have a friendship, and the other one thinks that they have a nice acquaintance. There's a difference.
Joshua and Eddie Hearn are actually proper friends in real life,
Right, I understand.
They've worked with each other for 10 years, So anyway, but my thoughts are that he had a right to take this offer, but the thing with Conor Benn, he's not an elite fighter. I'd say he's barely a world-class fighter. So for someone like him to get this offer, with someone like him, you have to take this money, because Conor Benn only has a short window, right, of 1 or 2 years.
Right.
So as he's not world-class, he's probably figured, I might as well take this deal. It makes perfect sense.
Exactly.
What's your opinion on it?
Well, like I said, being around boxing my whole life, I know that boxers will turn their back on somebody who's brought them all the way, and then somebody comes along with a better offer, and the loyalty factor seldom plays out. It's always about the money in most cases. And, when you want to talk about friendship and support, well, honestly, those guys are putting their lives on the line, and they have to make as much money as they can when they can do it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me. And plus, Conor has had a different upbringing and a different type of life that Eddie Hearn has had. So
no, he had the same life because his dad was a millionaire.
Yes, but his dad was a difficult guy.
Oh, he was, yeah.
So
I mean, his dad walked away, dropped his British border control license, ripped it up on live TV. So that tells you where he comes from, really, isn't it?
Yeah, so he probably grew up in a much tougher environment, regardless of the money.
Yeah, but Nigel Benn had a tough upbringing. Conor Benn didn't. He had it easy because he had all this. Dad had all this money. He had both his parents, and Nigel Benn lost his brother when he was 10 years old because he got murdered. Like that's the difference. For me, there's a way you do things and the way you do it. Always.
Well, like I said, you gotta look at the position of the fighter. He's the one taking the punches.
But Eddie Hearn wasn't giving him the money to fight him in court for the love of it. They only did it because Conor Benn is a commodity. He's an established brand in UK boxing, right?
Well,
only
sure
because of his dad. And really, he beat an old Chris Eubank Jr. who really was weight drained to hell. To me, he's just living off it now. So I don't see anything in Conor Benn that other people see. I just see him as a guy who's got a cash cow because of his dad's name and a win over a Wash Eubank. So if that makes hot property, then I think we're in trouble in boxing, right?
But it's really not new. It's not new. I mean, look at all the guys that have signed up with, because of the money Turkey's giving them,
Joe Opetaia is an elite cruiserweight. We know how good he is. You know, at least he's done it. At least he's won something. For me, Conor Benn hasn't won a British title, but his next opponent is Regis Progress, who is fighting his first fight at 147. Regis Progress is a career 140 and he's 37 years old. So Conor Benn hasn't fought at welterweight for 3.5 years. So when he goes into this fight, what's he hoping to achieve? They've only chosen Progress because he's a former world champion and because he's an A. And plus he's never fought at 140, so 147, so that's an advantage. But what is Conor Benn going to look like at 147 when he's been fighting at 160 for the last 2 or 3 years?
That's a good question. And I think he can make the weight.
Yeah.
You know, he did bulk up with a lot of muscle. So he may be able to cut that. When is the fight, actually? How far away is it?
I'm just looking now.
It's Saturday, September 11th.
Yeah.
So he has 2 months.
No, it's April the 11th. Yeah, April the 11th.
Yeah, Saturday, I'm sorry, April 11th. And, well, you know, he has 2 months to train, you know, to cut down. And Regis probably walks around about 160.
Right. The problem with this fight is you've got a couple of problems. Conor Benn will be seriously weight drained. And also, will he be able to take his power down with him? Will his power still be there at 147? And also, the fact that Regis Progress is a southpaw. I don't think they've done the research, but this is a cherry pick that could go wrong, right? But Regis is too physically small for Conor. He's a much smaller fighter, you know?
I think the way Regis fights, I think Benn is faster at this point in their careers. And if he is able to bring some power down there,
he'll knock him out, won't he? You would have thought.
Yeah.
At this weight, he'll be knocking most people out, right? That's probably the only reason to do it, because he knows he's not got the skills to beat the elite fighters at welterweight, so he can knock them out because he's bigger. It's just weight pulling at his best, isn't it? There's nothing impressive about that.
He doesn't have at 154, he didn't have that knockout power he needed.
At 147, he does.
Yeah, well, that remains to be seen, like you said, with the weight drain. But I think it's a fairly good match, but I think it's a testing match for him to see how he does.
I think this is a soft touch for him, because Regis Progress, if it was Regis Progress from 2017 to 2019, then it would be a different story.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
It's not. But then again, this is his first fight at welterweight. So we know that Regis Progress was never a big heavy hitter at 140 anyway. So to me, he's going to get outgunned and probably knocked out. I don't think this fight goes to full 12 rounds. If this goes to full 12 rounds and Conor looks bad, then for me, that's his career over with, really, you know.
Right.
He has to knock him out. And he has to, you know, make a show of it.
Yep. I agree.
It's just the name because he's won a world title. Right, so we'll move on. Uysk is going to be fighting a Dutch kickboxer who's a former world kickboxing champion.
Well, he's not former. He's
still the world champion.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Rico fight?
No, I haven't, no.
He's pretty badass. He has good hands, good fast hands, but he's going against an elite heavyweight fighter. Look, this is a moneymaker for both of them.
Yeah.
It's a circus sideshow. Every great boxer, Ali has done it. You know, Joe Louis has done it with the Bum of the Month Club. You know, other fighters have went into wrestling, whatever, you know. It's interesting. But Rico Verhoeven is no joke as a kickboxer, but I don't think he has the skills of a Uysk to take Uysk out.
He does have a fight. He did have one fight 10 years ago against some guy I've never heard of before in boxing, and he won that in what? Let me look at his boxing record.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. He won the fight in 1 round, but that was against some guy I've never heard of in Romania. So that shows you what you need to know.
Let me explain something, because I've done both. I've done kickboxing, karate, and I've done boxing. When you're used to that kickboxing, you don't get to set your feet like a boxer does and get the angles like a boxer does and get the power, because you have to move a lot and avoid kicks and punches.
Yeah.
And spinning punches and elbows and things like that. So to do what he needs to do now, he can't get his feet involved. And I've seen other kickboxers, when they become boxers, lift their leg up like they're going to kick when they get in trouble.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Dillian White was a kickboxer up to a high standard, you know. So
Well, he became a boxer. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
He actually transferred into it. But I don't think Rico is going to have enough time to do that.
But
But
he's
he's still
36.
great. Yeah, but
The
he's
problem,
still great.
yeah,
Don't
the
don't
problem is,
don't take don't take your eye off of him. He's still great, you know.
I'm just saying that kickboxers don't punch the same way or the same level of intensity as boxers. Their
Well,
punches are not as good.
well, you and I agree about that, and it has to do with that, the stance
Yeah,
and the angles, that
and
you
the
have.
power that's
So
coming from the bottom of your body.
yeah, we're on the same page, my friend.
I think the problem is, I think Usyk should just knock him out straight away. There's no point of him hanging this guy around, is there? What's the point?
Well, I
Can you hear me? Oh, I can't hear you.
Nathan. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
can
I
you hear
got
me?
your back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I got your back. Okay,
So to me, this is even worse than the Jake Paul fight. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree.
Because
I
I even think Jake Paul could beat this Rico guy.
uh
Yeah, of course he would. In a
Rico's a lot bigger than Jake Paul. Rico's a big man. He's
Jake
not a
Paul
small
is
man.
Jake Paul is 220 pounds. So and he can box properly. So I think that's the fight that should have been made, was Rico against Jake Paul, because I think Jake Paul beats him up in a boxing match, right?
Right. But
There's no,
Jake Paul was talking about going up against Usyk. He's nuts.
no, but he's not, because he is nuts, but he can box. That's the difference. He can box better than any kickboxer can, right?
Yes, that's true.
So for me, that makes more sense.
Yes, it does. I agree.
And
That's
I
true.
just think this Rico guy must be getting paid millions for this fight. I don't know what, going like $3 or $4 million or something ridiculous. It's crazy.
Well, don't forget they both have big audiences over in Europe, in the Netherlands, and in different parts of the world.
There's
So
no money in kickboxing, though, is there? I wouldn't say.
not the way it is a Fury and Usyk fight, or Mayweather and Pacquiao.
No, it's in the hundreds of, it's in the 100,000s, maybe even probably the 90s.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
don't know if,
some of the tournaments it could get higher though.
yeah, I don't know if this fight is sanctioned for the WBC belt, but if they did, it would be a joke. You can't sanction it. It should be an exhibition. It shouldn't be a sanctioned fight.
It would be a joke if it was sanctioned.
Then I'll just laugh, But that's the WBC. Right, let's move on. Fabio Wardley has been signed on to fight Daniel Dubois in his first defence on May the 9th. This
What's
is
your opinion of that?
My opinion is Dubois should stay away from this man. This man is too dangerous. If you've come off a loss, do you really want to get in there with another big puncher? With a bigger puncher? Not a good idea, is it?
Well, Dubois is a big puncher too.
He is, but right, the only advantages he's got in this fight is that he's got more experience than Wardley, and he probably hits harder, but he doesn't. But then the advantages for Wardley are Wardley has more heart, and he can come back. He's the sort of guy, if Wardley can take his punches, he'll stop Dubois. But if he can't, then he'll lose. Whoever can establish the big punch first will win this fight.
That's true.
It's not going the distance.
That's true. I agree with you. And I think that Fabio is hungrier and his hands are faster.
Yeah.
He's not as good of a boxer, I don't think, but
no, he's not.
It's more interesting than him versus Usyk because the guys aren't as versatile as Usyk. So I think it'll end in a knockout. I don't think it's going to go the distance, and I think Wardley will get him in trouble.
Fabio has more advantage. He's more athletic. He's a smaller heavyweight. He's thinner. He's a more flexible athlete. He's got a better engine than what Dubois got. As soon when the going gets tough, Dubois will quit or he'll get knocked out. So Dubois is just a big, slow, plodding guy who can knock you out. There's nothing spectacular about him. He's got good skills, but Fabio's will walk through a gunfire to beat him. And Daniel Dubois hasn't got the guts Fabio's got, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't trust his father being in his corner,
No, but he's back with Don Charles for this fight. But
Well,
if you're advising Fabio Wardley or Dubai, why would you advise to get in there with a big puncher like Wardley? And if you're Wardley, why would you make a first defence against someone this dangerous? To me, it doesn't.
Well, look, I mean, the other alternative is what's his name? Oh God, Ajit,
No,
right?
no, he's WBC mandatory, so no, that wouldn't have happened. That wouldn't have happened.
Oh, I hate these title organizations, but he's the guy really who's the spoiler in all of this. Is Ajit Kabayel, right?
Right. The problem with this fight that we're seeing is that Fabio Wardley has been brought in as the fall guy. I'll put it in a different context. Remember when Mike Tyson fought Danny Williams?
Yeah.
They're bringing Fabio Wardley as the fall guy, the Danny Williams, who everybody expects to lose, but he won. He will shock everybody, and he's already done it throughout his career. He's beaten Parker, and I think he's going to do the same to Dubai. If Dubai does manage to win this fight pretty quickly, then I would say that's the best cherry pick I've ever seen in world boxing. Fabio Wardley is not a Charles Martin. There's a big difference.
Yes. Well, the proof will be really is who's gonna look. I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, Dubois has that big punch if he can land it. I don't think he's going to be able to land it. And if he does and he drops Wardley will most likely get up and beat him anyway.
Well, the problem with this fight is Wardley's defense is worse than Dubai's.
Mm-hmm.
Wardley hasn't got any defense, whereas Dubai's got a bit better defense. He can move around a bit. So it's going to. What I'm saying is that Wardley's going to have to eat punches to win. He's going to have to take punches, get hit by 2 or 3 punches to throw 5 or 6. That's the sort of fight he is. But I don't think somebody like Wardley has a long career, right? The way he fights is a short career. But at least Dubai will still be there in 4 or 5 years' time. But Wardley won't, because the way he fights is all wrong.
Yeah. What I was saying, I wanted to answer your question. I remember it now. I think the reason this match is being made because if Dubois can get one of the belts, then he's in a better position to fight again for whoever's going to, he'll be in a position to defend that belt while Usyk decides if he wants to retire. And then whatever they're going to do after that, they do.
Yeah. But Fabio Wardley, everybody's against him. Everybody's supporting Daniel Dubois. Even his own promoter, Frank Warren, you can tell he's against him. He doesn't want Wardley to win. You can tell. You can tell they don't.
Yeah. Well, I think Dubois is a bigger name. For sure.
He is, but he's not as entertaining to watch, and he doesn't talk as much, whereas Fabio Wardley speaks his mind. Daniel Dubois, all you'll get from me is, I'll win the fight. He's like a caveman, isn't he?
Yeah, kind of sort of. Years, I agree with that.
Even Joe Lewis had more personality than him. And that's saying something, seriously.
Yeah.
You're
funny. I like that. That's funny.
Could you imagine if you got a time machine and he fought Rocky Marciano? That would be the boringest press conference ever, wouldn't it? Daniel Dubois wouldn't say anything. Rocky would just sit there smiling. Seriously. Yeah. Could you imagine if Ali had fought Daniel Dubois? You imagine he would have got destroyed in the ring and verbally.
Yeah, man. It would have been like that.
Right, let's move on. I'm going to pick Wardley to win in 8 rounds because I think Dubai's damaged goods.
I am going to agree with you. I think it may go a little longer, though, but I think the same outcome.
Right, let's talk about the next fight, which is Tyson Fury returns on April the 11th, and he returns against Arslan Makhmudov, who obviously beat Dave Allen in his last fight, and then he won another fight before that. Then before that, he lost to Edric Cabial, and then Guido Vianello before that. I think this is a cherry pick. I don't rate Arslan Makhmudov very highly. He looked like dog shit when he fought Dave Allen. That he didn't look like a top 20 fighter to me. Did he look like one to you?
No way. He looked clumsy. He looked tired. He was plodding, and he was against a guy. That's a mid-level heavyweight or maybe a 75% heavyweight.
I'd say he's a guy who's ranked in the top 100 heavyweights.
Yeah, but really I would put him like around in the teens and the low teens.
He's not even British level. He's probably just about British level.
Well, he's
And
tough. He's tough.
I'd say Medvedev is high European level. You know, he's like a guy in the top 30. That I can't put him any higher than top 30.
Did you see Dave Allen knock out his last opponent a couple of weeks ago?
That was pathetic. Did you see him? He looked like he didn't even train for the fight.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying. But anyway, I agree with you. I think that's the way.
But Dave Allen has said he's going to have another 3 or 4 fights like that in the next couple of months.
Well, good for him. He's going to fight his way back into shape.
I like Dave Allen, but at this point, we can't take him seriously. I can't take the guy seriously anymore.
Right.
So I'm picking Tyson Fury to win this fight within 5 or 6 rounds.
Yep. I think so. I think Tyson Fury will probably start off slow and just pepper him with the jab because this guy's heavy. You know, he could put his weight on Fury, but I think Fury's going to lure him into the jab in the right hand. You know, with his timing, with his combination of punches, because that jab is a battering ram that he has. And if he just keeps him on the outside, you know, the guy will rush him and try to press him against the ropes. Fury should be able to handle this guy without a problem if he doesn't get too fancy and cocky. He's got to not put on a show. He's got to go out there and take care of business.
But then again, the ring rust I'm worried about his ring rust. Is he going to be, you know, seriously?
I don't think he's going to be that rusty. I think he's been training all along. And you know, don't discount him. He could have been saying he wanted to retire for the past 6 months and could be training.
Yeah, there's another
just
fight.
fooling everybody.
There's another fight I wanted to talk about that just came into today, which is Tony Yoka against Lawrence Coley.
Oh boy,
that's going to be. Don't know. They're just making that fight. I don't know why.
Well, Tony Yoka is a big guy, but Okolie is a mountain. Okolie. I'm thinking of somebody different.
No, Lawrence Okolie's not a very good heavyweight.
Oh, yeah, I know who he is. I was thinking of the other guy, the Nigerian guy.
The thing with it, the problem is he was 200 pounds. Now he's walking around at 270 pounds in the ring, right? And we're talking about a guy who was kind of slender, right? Then he's put on 60 pounds. I'm like, how can you put on 60 pounds when you've been a cruiserweight champion? I'm like, how the hell did he even make the weight? It's crazy. So Yoka's his last 4 fights in the last 2 years, he's won against rubbish people, you know, bums or whatever. And Okolie's record isn't that much better. In the last 3 or 4 fights, he turned heavyweight, you know.
He's been winning. I watched his last fight. He had a knockout.
Yeah, but these people he's fighting, they're not even top 100 fighters. That's the problem. I mean, Kevin Arena is his only good win at heavyweight. And then he beat the other guy, Ebenezer Tete, who's meant to be about 36, but he looks about 55. Yeah.
Wasn't it Yoka who got knocked out by the former champion? He was favored to win, and then he got KO'd by that Australian guy.
No,
What's his name? Brown?
He lost to Martin Bacall in 1 fight on points, then he lost to Carlos Takam on points, then he lost to Ryan Moretti, all 3 fights in a row. Then he dropped down to fighting guys outside the top 300.
Okay, I'm thinking of a different guy. Yeah. I mean, look, they're fighters, they got to make money, right? So they're fighting guys in their level. So, I mean, you can't expect everyone to be a champion. I mean, these promoters have cards and they have names.
Yeah,
the problem is what?
The problem with this fight, because Tony Yoka's not even in the top 15 of the WBC. Lawrence Okolie is ranked like number 1 or 2 in the rankings of the WBC because he was the Bridgerweight champion. Then he won the.
Say it again. I missed that. Say that again. I missed that.
Right, I said that he's ranked number 1 or 2 in the WBC rankings. Lawrence Okolie is because he was a WBC silver champion and because he was the former Bridgerweight champion. You see, does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, why would you fight a guy who's not even the top 15 and there's only 4 guys outside the top 200? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. You know, I don't know whatever happened to Jared Anderson. I mean, I haven't had talk of him in any of these conversations about
He
heavyweights
hasn't fought
recently.
for about 8 months. He won his last fight in what, 10 rounds or something stupid.
Yeah. Well, he had a bad knockout.
Yeah.
You know,
This will make you
he
laugh.
was kind of exposed.
Lawrence Okoli is ranked #1 in the WBC. Can you believe that?
Really?
Seriously, what ridiculous. I'm going to see what's next because that's just ridiculous. Oh yeah, Floyd Mayweather is coming out of retirement to fight Manny Pacquiao. Oh,
Well, you know what's interesting? I thought about this. You know, Manny should have won that fight against Barrios, and then
oh, he
that
should have.
would make sense for Floyd to come out of retirement to fight for a title.
Yeah.
See, but it didn't happen. But still, that caused enough interest with Floyd to say, "Hey, if Manny could do that, then I'll go and beat Pacquiao, and maybe I'll get a shot at the title."
I don't see what other guy has to gain from this fight other than making a shitload of money. It's just disgraceful, and it's on Netflix as well. I don't know if it's a sanctioned bout or what. I couldn't tell you.
Well, Pacquiao is ranked.
But
You know, he had a WBC ranking for that. And then they're looking at, okay, Ryan Garcia's in there. Can Mayweather beat Garcia?
No,
I think he could.
At this point, yeah.
I think he could outbox him. He could outbox him. His footwork, Ryan Garcia's footwork is not very good, and his balance is not good.
What would it do for Ryan Garcia to lose to a 48-year-old man other than make a shitload of money? Maybe it would be worth him cashing. But I think Ryan Garcia's career is better than that. You know, I see him having not too long around, but then he'll win another world title somewhere else. I think he's a talented fighter. If you fight someone like Mayweather, if you're all about the money, take the fight. If you want to have a legacy, you can't be fighting a 48-year-old Mayweather, right?
Well, look who he's got there in front of him. He has Devin Haney now in that division with him, who wants him badly.
Yeah. If that's the way he's thinking, then he should just cash out now and just take 10 million or 20 million out of Mayweather's pocket. He might as well. And if he beats him, then he beats a legend. If he loses, then he's just another boxer. You know, I want more for that for Ryan Garcia. You know, he finally.
Well,
anyway,
we'll
let's continue talking about. Have I missed something? No, I haven't.
Talking about Pacquiao and Mayweather.
We're talking about this fight. In what world does this make any sense? Only other than the fat cats to make their wallets bigger. For me, I don't want to see it. Do you want to see it, Mayweather Pacquiao?
Maybe just from an interesting point of view, I think Mayweather can beat Manny because Manny's gotten so much slower, and Mayweather still has very good reflexes.
Yeah,
I think also they both need the money. Mayweather needs the money, and so does Pacquiao.
Mayweather doesn't need the money. He's nearly a billionaire.
No, he does. He always has a huge tax bill, dude. Every time he has to pay his taxes, he puts on a demonstration. You know,
you're trying to tell me that this man doesn't have £300 million sitting in his bank account still? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I'm telling you because of his lifestyle and the way he spends money.
So
and he makes money from other investments. Let me finish. He makes money from other investments. He has to pay his tax bill. And if you time when he does his exhibition and matches, it's when he has to pay his IRS date. He keeps pushing it out ahead a year. That's what he does.
So how much would you say, without guessing proper guess, would you say he actually has of actual money? A couple $100 million?
You know what? Go on the internet now if you can and put in how much money is both fighters worth. Go see how much Floyd Mayweather is worth and how much taxes he owes. Remember when he wasn't allowed to leave Las Vegas because he had to pay taxes? Yeah. He does that. That's his modus operandi. That's what he does.
Mayweather worth.
How much is he worth? I'm sure he's got real estate. He has nightclubs, strip clubs, all of this stuff. He's got a lot of cash coming in these strip clubs.
So what I'm saying is, if you take away all the money, if you add all the money in assets, he's probably got like 50 million in assets of houses and stuff, is what I'm saying. So his money must be in assets, right?
Yes, I'm sure it is to some degree, but I don't think Pacquiao has a lot of money because he gives it a lot away. You know, he gives a
But
lot of that stuff away.
But he's still a millionaire. He's still probably got like 10 million, which is enough for any one man in a country like that to live for, 3 or 4
Not
lives.
for these guys. Not for these guys. I'm telling you, man. It's a psychological thing. With
It's
these
ridiculous.
guys.
It's ridiculous. Right, let's move on
Yeah.
to Efe Ajagba has his first fight on Zuffa against Charles Martin and
Right.
gets
Now-
boxed for the first 2 rounds and then gets a knockout out of nowhere. I wasn't impressed with Efe Ajagba. Really, it wasn't anything spectacular, was it? Really, he got out boxed for 2 rounds and knocked him out in the 3rd and 4th.
Well, you know, Ajagba is a notorious slow starter. But once Charles Martin, once he figured out Charles Martin, those hands came over so fast. You know, it knocked him down so hard, that right hand, when he landed it. And then he just opened up the faucet and took him, just knocked them all around the ring. Now, granted, Martin was scoring and all of that, but Ajagba was catching a lot of them on the gloves.
Yeah.
And just walking him down. Just like AJ was walking down Jake Paul.
Charles Martin looked like a guy who's 40 years old, 39-year-old man who has slowed down so much in the last couple of years. From the first round, you could see him when Charles Martin is in trouble against anyone good. If you notice, he always backs against the ropes. He's always against the ropes when he fights anybody with any ability. Like when he fought Ortiz, he nearly won that fight. He knocked him down twice and then got knocked out. But that was a great fight. He's got a lot of heart. But I just think Charles Martin is, if he's going to continue, just fight guys, like the Jared Andersons, below that level, just beneath that level, where he's still going to get wins. But
well, do you think he could beat Jared Anderson or Richard Torres right now?
No, because he's already lost to Jared Anderson and he lost on points in a fight that was very, very close. And he exposed Jared Anderson wasn't that good. He completely exposed him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's a weird one. I think Charles Martin should just keep fighting the guys outside the top, 100. Those are the guys he can beat, look good against, and he'll get another paydays. He'll get more paydays,
Well, he was a former champion, so he has some marketability.
I don't question his heart. Even the Charles Martin of 10 years ago wouldn't have won this fight.
No, Ajagba. Something about that last fight that he had a draw with, was it who did he fight? Coley?
Yeah, Bacolli. Lawrence Bacolli.
Yeah, Lawrence, and that was a hard fight. I thought he won, but Coley had him pinned on the ropes a lot, so that's why he probably got the draw.
So,
but the point is that Ajagba's getting better, but I think he'll never be like an elite heavyweight.
No, of course he won't. I mean, he could pick up a world title. He's got the build, he's got the power, but I don't think he's got the skills. I mean, I could see him winning a world title. I don't think he'd beat Fabio Wardley or anyone like that. But athletically, he looks like an athlete. He's like a Poundland, a dollar version of Deontay Wilder, but with a bit more skill.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, he'll be up there. He's interesting to fight. Those fights with the top 5 or so will be interesting with him.
Yeah. I'd like to see him fight Anthony Joshua in Nigeria. I think that would be a really good fight. I don't think he'd win.
That would be
a great fight.
Big sell, Well,
because
maybe he'll have a rematch with Bacolli. A rematch with Bacolli in Nigeria would be big.
The 2 things that Ajagba's got going for him is that he's got a good promoter behind him, a good machine, got a good trainer. He's Nigerian, that's marketable, and he looks like a poor man's version of Wilder. That goes for him as well. But his conditioning is pretty good. He's athletic, but I just don't think he has the skills to go with it. That's the only thing.
Right. Well, I think he's been brought along pretty well. Who was the guy who beat him? The Cuban, right?
Sanchez, from Sanchez. A couple of years ago.
That's another guy. Right. Well, there's a lot of good heavyweight fights to be had, and Jalalov is out of the picture. He's just, being a champion in Russia right now. Yeah,
I think when I look at Ajagba, I'd say he's in the top 20. I wouldn't put him in the top 10 just yet. He might be just on the edges of it, like the top 15, mate.
Yeah.
He's definitely in.
And Torres is coming along. I don't see him. I think Torres is not at the point yet where he could even fight a Jared Anderson.
No, but but I think he's better than Jared Anderson. I think he will be better than Jared Anderson. I think it's going to take a few
Right.
more years for him to develop. It's like a time thing, right? We've got some good
Yep.
heavyweights coming through in England. We've got Leo Atang, who's 19. We've got some good young heavyweights coming through.
I saw a guy just the other day. He got a knockout in the first round.
Yeah, that was Leo Atang.
Looked pretty good.
Rich guy.
Yeah, but I thought that fight was stopped too soon. The guy was okay. He could have continued.
There's another guy coming from America, has a new heavyweight. I think he's 5-0. I forget his name, James something. I can't remember his name. But if it comes to me, I'll let you know. But he looked pretty
I
decent.
think I saw him. He looks, well, it's early, with these guys. Once they get into like 15 fights, then you start to see, when they start getting in with better contenders, if they can knock them out or if they could keep, if they have to go the distance.
Yeah. Let's talk about the next fight. This is Brandon Figueroa wins the WBA belt against Nick Ball in a fight he was probably just losing, and then he gets the knockout in the last couple of seconds of the fight.
It was a great fight. And you got to give it up for Nick Ball. He fought his heart out. I think there were moments when he was scoring more combinations than Nick Ball was.
Yeah.
But also there were moments when Figueroa was scoring combinations. I think he just punched stronger.
Yeah. Right, I think it's a bit ridiculous. The whole fight was a little bit... Yeah, I mean, I ain't got too much to say. Nick Ball's a world-class fighter, and so is Figueroa, That's all there is to it. And Nick Ball will come back and win some sort of title again. He's 26 years old. He's a good fighter,
Right. So, he is... Brandon looked much bigger than him, too, in the rehydration, He looked a lot bigger. So...
Well, I'm going to move
see.
on because we didn't...
You think they'll have a rematch?
No. I'm going to move on now to a thing I didn't put down, which was Ryan Garcia finally wins the world title.
Right.
Against Barrera. He controlled the fight. He knocked him down in the first round. He controlled the action. Barrera was a weak champion, but it was a good, mature performance by Garcia. I never thought he was ever going to get that world title. I was starting to get a bit worried.
Well, what was interesting to me about that fight, other than the fact that, Ryan Garcia was able to outbox him, was when you looked at the two of them in the ring, Barrios was huge compared.
Oh, he was, yeah.
I don't think he can't make 147. He'll have to go to 154.
He's a 154.
He'll have to do that because he just Ryan couldn't knock him out, but Ryan did catch him, a couple of times. And Barrios should have moved up before he fought Pacquiao.
Yeah, I think he'll win a version of the title up at 154. Yeah, because there's not a lot of good people there really. So if you take out Jaren Ennis and the other guy, there's not really anybody there. So I don't think we'll see. I think Ryan is at the weight where he should be now, and he looks better at this weight than he ever did at 140.
Right.
Don't forget he's
now,
gone up from one. Carry on.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, you carry on.
I think Ryan can only get better, but he's still viewed as the weakest champion, one of the weakest champions. He's not the weakest in this division. I'd say not Rowley. I'd say Lewis. What's his name? The British guy. I've forgotten his name.
Crocker?
Crocker is the weakest of the champions.
Right. Well, don't forget we got Devin Haney there now, right?
Yeah, and then you've got Rolly Romero as well, who's already beaten him.
Well, he has to move up.
Yeah, he does.
He has to move up to that weight. And, Rolly clocked him and hurt him. So if he moves up, he'll bring some more power with him.
So Garcia, for me, Garcia is at the weight he should be at. And he's finally won that belt that he should have won 4 or 5 years ago. Because he should be like a champion making the 6th or 7th defense of his title run. That's the way I look at it,
And didn't he announce he was leaving Golden Boy?
I don't know. I don't think so. No.
Yeah, he did. He announced that, and then they were with a short interview with what's his name, with Oscar. Oscar said, "We have a contract."
Yeah, but to be
Crazy.
honest,
That's boxing, you know. That's boxing.
Oscar has stuck by him, hasn't he? He's stuck by him. You know, he's been
Yeah,
loyal to him.
he has.
So I think without Golden Boy, I think he'd be lost. I think Garcia should just stay where he is unless he gets a big offer from Matchroom. But I think he should leave a bit more respectfully. Don't do what Conor Benn did, a guy who's done nothing in the sport. You know.
Right. You know, what's his guy? Ortiz is still under contract to Golden Boy, and they decided to go with Zuffa, I think, didn't they?
Yeah. Which
So-
Ortiz?
right?
Oh, Virgil Ortiz. Yeah. That's correct.
Virgil Ortiz, rather.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm not too
Virgil
sure
Ortiz.
on that. I haven't read anything.
Yeah,
Well,
and they have an ironclad contract, and it's like, look, you know, he could tie him up in court because he wanted to fight Boots Ennis, remember?
Yes.
At 154.
Oh yeah. You
Now,
need to lock
The
your fighters
154 division, I'm sorry.
You need to lock your fighters into contracts. If not, they'll walk away. They'll walk all over you.
Well, they do it anyway. That seems to be the theme of the show today, you know.
Yeah.
But that Middle Eastern guy got his 154 title taken away. The guy that destroyed what's his name? Sue.
Who?
He lost his title by knockout. Remember the guy who knocked Sue out? That titleist. He's
yeah.
the Muslim fighter. Very strong
Can't remember.
puncher. He lost his title. Yeah, I forgot who beat him though. Who beat him at 154?
Was it recently?
Yeah,
Was it
it was
Xander
a couple of weeks ago. It could have been. It could have been one of those guys, but he got KO'd. So anyway,
I can't think who you mean. But the
yeah, so he's in the
154
mix of 154 with Boots and those guys.
Yeah, but
so
the 154 division, the champions, you've got Xander Zayas, who's got 2 of the belts. Then you've got somebody else. Is it Fundora? And then you've got somebody else. And then you've got Ennis is the interim or some rubbish or something. I'm not sure.
yeah. But yes, somebody knocked him out, and I forgot. Unfortunately, I forgot his name. But anyway, we could talk about that later. I'm happy for Ryan Garcia. I think he's redeemed himself, but he's going to have some dues to pay with Haney.
I don't think he'll take that fight. I don't think that fight will happen for a few years. I just don't see it happening. If he wants a long title reign, he should just forget about it, move on, make as much money as he can, defend the title against that title, and just milk it. Because after this, I can't see him winning the world title after this. You know, I think
Yeah,
this is
the WBC, if he stays with Oscar, the WBC will put some weaker contenders against him in the beginning, you know. And
I don't
then
think
eventually
I don't see him keeping the title for more than 2 or 3 defenses.
I would agree with that. I don't think he's an exciting fighter. He's fun to watch, but he has some weaknesses with his footings, with his feet. So,
as there was an opponent who fought Amir Khan, he put this best. Even though he has world-class talent, he also has world-class vulnerabilities as well.
that's a good way to put it. I like that. I like that, Nathan. I got to remember that. That's a good quote.
That's something from 20 years ago. Right, so we'll move on. Shakur Stevenson defeats Lopez for the 140-pound WBO title. Yeah, I was expecting this kind of performance.
We both called that, if you recall, on our last podcast.
Yeah. But
he would defeat him.
His style bores me. I can't sit and watch his fights. I have to be honest. I can't watch Shakur. He just bores me. It's the same with Devin Haney as well, you know. They're not exciting fighters.
Right. They're not. They're boxers, that's for sure.
Yes.
I think Bud has done a great job with Shakur, keeping him under his wing and training with him and giving him advice. And then they stripped him of his title, his 140 title.
They stripped him of the 135, but I think Stevenson will get better. Will only get better. And then hopefully he'll grow a personality as well, instead of his daughter taking over the interviews.
Right. So do you think Crawford will stay retired?
No, of course he won't. You know the answer to that. You know he won't. If Pacquiao said, I want to fight you, or Mayweather
not Pacquiao.
Mayweather.
You're talking about not not Mayweather. If what's his name, Canelo wants to fight him, they can make a lot of money.
I don't see the point. I just think if he's going to fight, he should move up. He should try moving up to light heavyweight, even though he's too weight. Well, that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
It would be interesting, but he'd be way too small. I mean, Bivol would crush him.
You say that. I think Bivol would beat him, but it would be very close. I think because he's 37 now, there's nothing left for him to do. Isn't it crazy to think that we've gone a whole, in a generation, you see Mayweather who crossed with everybody, from Chavez Sr. to Crawford to all these guys that have come and gone. And Crawford's like the only one of that generation left, any of those welterweights from 15 years ago or whatever, that came up and started their careers. That's still here,
Yeah. Yep.
Malignaggi. Right.
Yep.
Right, let's move on before we go. Are you nearly at your work?
I'm okay. Go ahead. Continue.
Right. Katie Taylor's retired.
Well, she has one more fight she wants to do in Dublin. I think it's a good thing. I think she's been in too many wars. And where is she going from here? She can't move up. She doesn't want to move up. Moving down didn't work for her. So I think it's a good thing.
I think.
What do you think?
She's done everything you can do. She's 37 years old. She could carry on another 3 years, but then she might lose another fight because she already lost to Chantal Cameron. So I think she's leaving at the right time. Leave on top while you still got, while it's still fresh in people's mind. Do what Joe Carazega did, walk away while you're still at your height. It makes sense. She can.
And Joe, do you think she has injuries?
I think she does, yeah. But also, I think she would be a better ambassador for women's boxing than she can achieve in boxing, right? Because she's such a big name, she can use that to her advantage. She can train people. She can advise women boxers. She was like the first superstar in boxing next to Carissa Shields, right? In women's boxing, the real superstar.
Right. Well, there was Ali.
Yeah, but that not the same spectrum that Katie Taylor's on,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because women's boxing has become more acceptable because they actually fight.
Yeah, because Katie Taylor can fight, and then you've got people like Carissa Shields who, God, she looks big now, don't she, Carissa Shields now? When I look at her now.
Yeah, and she had that heavyweight fight last week, and she outpointed that woman.
Naturally, she's only like a welterweight, right, or whatever, a middleweight. She doesn't carry well because she's not that big. Her body's not built that way.
Right, and she doesn't have the same power anymore.
No, not heavyweight.
She has power, but not heavyweight power.
Look at the opponents she's fighting. They're not very good. They're like 41 was 47, 6 years old, who'd had like 8 fights and there's no standard in women's heavyweight boxing. If you look at it, really is. There's no standard at all. So if she can, anybody from middleweight and win a world title heavyweight, that says it all because the quality is just not there at the top, like cruiserweight and. Well, there isn't a cruiserweight in women's, light heavyweight and heavyweight. You can go from middleweight, win a world title at middleweight, and then go for one fight heavyweight and go back down again. You can't do that in men's boxing. Go down from middleweight to super to heavyweight.
People have tried, and some have succeeded.
Was it Jack Sharkey?
Jumped up.
Jack Sharkey went from middleweight.
He was a light heavyweight. He went up to heavyweight. But also you had Bob Foster, who was pretty successful as a heavyweight.
Light heavyweight, right? Light heavyweight.
Yeah, he was light heavyweight. Michael Moore came up from light heavyweight to heavyweight.
And Michael
was a cruiserweight
as well.
And Evander Holyfield.
And there was another guy who came from light heavyweight, Chris Bird as well. Chris Bird.
Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah.
So it can be done.
But obviously in women's boxing, the quality isn't really there, is it? At the top weights, in women's boxing all over, if you look at it, the qualities, if you take away the top 4 or 5 fighters, the rest is just like, they're making up the numbers.
That's true.
Anything else you wanted to add before we go? Because I've got to go on patrol.
I think we had a good show. I think we talked about a number of topics that were interesting. There's some lighter weight title fights this weekend.
Yeah,
which should be fun to watch. I'll post them.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
I'll see you later. Bye. Take care. Bye.
Bye.